What's going on, everybody? You know, there's a saying I like, and it goes as such: if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And why I bring that up is because there's the difference between an argument and a conversation is your ability to have an open mind. People who want to argue with you on social media and in real life, they have their mind so made up on something that they're unwilling to listen to anybody else. So they're unwilling to have an open mind about the situation and think differently, or even introduce new facts. For that case, some people are just so stubborn that they just totally ignore facts. And I had a comment from a person on social media who said that you can't think you're smarter than somebody who's an expert in the field. And my response to that is, it takes people sometimes to think outside the box. Another statement I like is, sometimes the simplest answer is right in front of you, and you're too embedded into whatever the case may be that you can't see something so simple. And that happens a lot. And another reason why I don't follow that concept is because let's just take something that's popular right now, something like Shark Tank. When you see an entrepreneur up there and they come up with this new idea, this new thing, how many times have you heard, well, going into this, I knew nothing about it. And they sat down, taught themselves and learned about it and created something with a different frame of mind as opposed to an expert, you know. So, I don't know, it just saddens me that there's so many people out there who refuse to use the human brain to its fullest potential. I mean, nobody uses it to its fullest potential that we know of, unless some military has some deep, dark secrets, which they do, I'm sure, that we don't know about, that uses more than just, 10% of the mind, the brain. And, it's the people who refuse to use even what they do have is what kind of is sad. Oh, they took that bridge down. I don't know, I don't understand the concept, really. Oh, there's a ball field over there. I never knew that. Listen to me. Okay. I don't know. You're always going to be, in the same position, in where you are now. Were you in that same spot 10 years ago? And is that because you won't have an open mind? Can't think things differently? Can't see yourself doing something productive? You've convinced yourself that you're not worthy of this or not worthy of that, or you can't think of this or you can't think of that. Or maybe you're just too complacent and or lazy to just implement something different or a different view or a different outlook or anything. And I think society kind of breeds that, and social media does nothing to help it. If you're not already in that frame of mind, to have an open mind, because chances are, there's so many people when they share stuff on social media, all they want to do is share stuff that falls into their line of view, even if it's not true. But just because they want to believe it, they're going to believe it. And it reminds me of my mom, to be honest with you. My mom was always like that. And I gotta get through this mud here. My mom was always like that, and that was one trait about her I did not care for. Because no matter what the situation was, she knew best, she knew better, she knew it all. And even if I came at her with facts about something, she would argue with me to the point where she would just get mad at me and not talk to me for a while. So when people get mad at me on Facebook and social media and they unfriend you and stuff like that, you know, I picture that as like my mom. And my mom never achieved anything in her life. You know, she was in an orphanage till she was like 19, and she was, you know, had to leave. And, you know, she worked a factory job or whatever. And then when she met my dad, she didn't do anything. And so when people have a closed mind or not open to different views or even facts for that matter, I see my mom in that and how she let life, I don't know, get the best of her and bring her down, and maybe not just bring her down, but held her back where she could not achieve anything in life because she believed what she wanted to believe, no matter what. And I am glad that growing up, you know, trust me, I had great parents, believe me. I mean, I'm not bitching about them or anything like that, but they lacked, I don't want to say intellect because that's not really the word I'm looking for. They just lacked drive. They lacked expansion of the mind. They were just complacent and fine with that. Yet they bitched about it all the time, you know? You'd bitch about being complacent, but you wouldn't do anything to change it. And that's one thing I learned from my parents. And that's one reason why I say, and will say, I had great parents, because you learn from your parents not only what to do, but what not to do in life. And having those arguments with my mom, where she would be mad at me for a week at a time and not even speak to me just because I had a disagreement on a subject that was really even no big deal, but because she wasn't willing to open up and think about it and think about the facts that, or even the opinions I brought to the table, she closed down, she closed me down, and that was it. And I don't know, it just saddens me that there's so many people in the world like that today who will just shut anybody out just of a difference of opinion or even a difference of factual information, just because they're so dead set in their mind that they know best, they know what's right, even if it's not. And I don't know, it doesn't really get to me anymore. Like, I don't care. You can't argue with somebody who doesn't, you know, when I don't even consider it arguing, I consider it a conversation. But the other person usually considers it, you know, as an argument. But you can't have a conversation about something with somebody who's not willing to have an open mind about it. You know, it's just, all they want to do is convince you instead of having an open dialogue of facts and situations and whatever the case may be. Their only goal is to argue with you and convince you, and if they can't, then you're not worthy of their attention. And instead of, like my mom, shutting me out for a week, they'll just unfriend you on Facebook or never speak to you again, or call you names, which is even a more pathetic case, because if you have to verbally attack somebody just because their opinion is different than you, that just shows you how, I don't know, I guess, intellectually weak you are. And I hate using the word intellect because there's so many different levels of intellect. Like, I consider somebody who's got street smarts, you know, smarter than somebody who's a store manager of a Best Buy. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many different levels, who went to college for 4 years to run a retail business. You know, so there's so many, I don't like using the word intelligent because there's so many different levels of that and so many variations of it. But it just shows how weak-minded, I guess is a good way of putting it, weak-minded somebody is, because you can have a strong mind and be street smart and not book smart, and vice versa. So you're just weak in different areas. But when you're just totally weak-minded to opinions and facts and dead set on what you want to believe because you don't like a person or because you've only experienced it one way or whatever the case may be, I don't know. It's just sad. I just wish more people had open minds and more people would stop being like my mother and just not talk to somebody because they have a, different facts or different opinions about a situation. It's just sad to me. Sad. All right, I'm going to get back home and get me some lunch after walking, and jogging. Do some jogging. So, all right, everybody, I am off. Later.